Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome back to this week's episode of Soul Conversation. Today, I have my friend and a beautiful sister back in USA and in Colorado, Denver, and Abby and I met. I don't know, how did we meet, Abby? Oh my God,
I think it
I
was
don't remember
on
that.
a Facebook group for podcast stuff.
Oh yes, because I had the honor to be on Abby's podcast, so you have to go in and check that episode out. And I would say, Abby for me is a vibrant, like beautiful being who fills this earth with so much joy, and she has been a former dancer, but she's now working as a brand and web designer. So, welcome to this
Yeah.
week's episode.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Our last conversation was so good. I'm excited to see where this one goes.
Yeah. And I would like to start with, for the ones listening, because I feel like you're kind of doing the brand and web designer from a different angle. That's how I feel. So can you share a little bit from there first?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I approach it from a very empowering standpoint in a way of you really get to be yourself online. I do
Mm,
both brand and web design and then also the content coaching and it kind of my approach kind of is
cool.
across the board the same regardless of how I help people because I have been there and done that and done the whole dimming my light and holding myself back and trying to be professional and all of that stuff. And it's never felt good to me. And so one of the things that is most important to me is that your online presence feels good to you. And every person
Mm,
that for that changes, like the way it feels good is completely different from one person to the next. And so I don't take like a generic approach to brand and web design or content or anything like that. It's very specific to that person and their goals and allowing them to share more of themselves in a way that actually, like I said, again, feels good. That's really what it comes down to. And
yeah.
a lot of times it's just, giving them the permission to do it and being like, no, actually, you
Mm,
can say things that way, or you can share your voice in that way, or you can, post this idea or put this on your website when there's a lot of like what people think are rules, like in quote marks rules of like
yeah.
what they think they should do. And that comes to websites as well, not just content. I feel like it shows up more in content than it does in anything else. But even on brand websites, like people are like, oh, I want to reach a luxury market, so I have to be neutral and boring. And it's like, no, I've worked with a lot of clients who work with luxury markets and their branding is super colorful and like you can have it however you want it to be. And so it's really this like, yeah,
Mm,
more empowering approach. And so that's why some of the projects I love the most are rebrands for clients because and like redesigns of their websites because you
yeah.
really like see that transformation in them alongside their online presence.
I love it. And would you say, are there like, is it both males and men and women you work with, or is it more women?
I just work with women. Yeah. I've worked
Okay,
with
yes.
men in the
Okay.
past, but it just has never felt like the right fit. I don't feel the same level of
Mm,
trust and respect that I get from women. And I also feel like men
mm,
have had the advantage for so long in like the business
mm.
world that like I want to do everything I
Yeah,
can to help women put themselves out there and really like get, yeah, the online presence they deserve.
yeah. I hear you, and I think the more we can have these conversations and collaborate and be very
Mm.
generous as well, the kind of the competitiveness between women as well, it's going down, not
Yeah.
going down, but you know what I mean, it's,
No, for
yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah.
would you say that you experience that there can be a fear from women to actually be more and more visible, on the in
Yeah.
I'm talking about the online space and website as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like a big part of what I do is like covering those types of limiting beliefs and mindset stuff with my clients, because it is like this fear of judgment heavily that
Mm.
comes up. And often it's really interesting that some of the people that they fear the judgment from the most are the people they know. And that is just sometimes so
Yeah.
interesting to me. Like it's not like new people they've never met or like anyone on the internet. Like it's genuinely like, their sister-in-law or like their neighbor or whatever. Like those are the people they are often more worried about judgment from than like just anybody on the internet. And so that's an interesting kind of dynamic to help them work through. But yeah, it's definitely like the fear of judgment for sure. And then the rules they think they have to follow that we often have to help them break, because you don't have to. Like there's strategies and obviously things to do, but you can work them in ways that make it aligned for you and your business. You don't have to do it the way everyone else
Yeah.
is doing it. And so
That's a
allowing
good one.
that to kind of come through is, yeah, those are some of the biggest things I work through with with my
Yeah.
clients, especially at the beginning. It's a lot of the like limiting beliefs and trying to figure out what feels safe for them to share.
Yeah. And what do you like? What's your take on why you believe just, what you shared with the kind of closest family members or friends or whatever, where the fear comes from? What do you think?
I mean, I think it's really just that like so much of what we do as online business owners isn't necessarily understood. And so like people will
Mm.
think you're like, oh, silly for showing up on social media and doing a dumb reel or whatever. And so like people will think that they're not going to get taken seriously because of the way if they're showing up in a way that's fun or silly or,
Mm.
interesting to them, they might not get taken seriously, or people will think they're not a real business or whatever crap. And it's just not true. It doesn't have to be true, but that is often I find
Yeah.
where like that's what they're most worried about, like judgment wise, from other people, and definitely from the people closest to them, because they're also the ones who are going to share their opinions with them. And so that's something you have to
Yeah.
navigate too, is knowing how to either like not have that conversation if you don't want to hear their opinion, or find ways to do it in a way that feels good, so that you're not like trying to constantly defend yourself. Like you should, it impacts your like self-worth and your trust in your own intuition whenever you're worried
Yeah.
about what other people are thinking. So allowing, yeah, yourself to kind of get past that is, I find, one of the biggest steps, and it's always the hardest.
Yeah. And I think like I'm I'm thinking from my perspective as well with the clients I work with, which also can have fear of visibility in there. Um that like you said, the being judged, because they also kind of remember when I go deeper with them, like an unfolding, is the fear of it could be moment and times from when they were a child and being criticized or not being,
Yeah,
allowed to express whatever, emotions they
absolutely.
had. And then they were like, it's funny. And that's also part of my own story. I think I can absolutely relate to all of like what you're
Same. Oh yeah,
referring.
for sure. I
Yeah,
definitely had that
for
same
sure.
like needing to, it's almost like this like peeling back the layers. It's not going to all happen at one time. Like for me it really felt like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm like peeling back this layer of like I don't have to be
Yes.
perfect, and then the next layer of like I don't have to people please, and then like and it really takes a while to
Yeah.
get to that core of who you are. And then like obviously like I said, feeling safe sharing that, and it takes
Yeah.
practice to do, and it also takes that inner work to do. And so I love that you do that with your clients, and I feel like I do it, obviously in a different way, not necessarily quite as deep of the work that you do, but it still shows up in the other areas of your
Yeah.
business for sure.
And also the I think the more kind and compassionate I've been with, like you say, all the different identities and like peeling the layers, unfolding and so on, the more like it's been much more easy for me to also open up and be willing to kind of hold the space when my family have questions
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
instead of
sure.
going in to defend, or yeah, it's been all the different things I have felt. Like I felt almost attacked, but they have just been curious.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
You're going to take
it's
it personally when they
exactly,
probably never meant it that way. Yeah. No,
no,
I felt the same way, or like I'll avoid conversations or whatever if I'm like, well, you guys wouldn't understand. So I'm not even going to talk to you about it, And so
yeah,
yeah, for
exactly,
me it was also that like I've gotten more and more open with it and comfortable with sharing both like the highs and the lows, because I used to be
yeah,
afraid to share the lows with them, because then I'd be like, oh, they're going to question my judgment and think I shouldn't be doing this, and be like, oh, shouldn't you go get a real job? And so I had to get past that myself in order to then feel like I could talk to them about like everything.
yeah, yeah. But I've been questioned a lot, but I think somehow for me it's been okay. Then I kind of have my soul family, my extended, like the closest one that is on this journey with me, that I can, okay, this is what's going on, and people can relate, and the conversation we have right now, like I also, that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I feel that right now there is a shift where I have conversation that there's so many, especially women out there and entrepreneurs who actually feel pretty alone sometimes, and
Absolutely.
that you know I mean, because you have to put yourself out there and try something, and something doesn't work, and then okay, let's go this direction and try this. Like it's exploration, I would say, from my perspective.
Absolutely. No, it is for sure. And you have to, again, I feel like you have to feel like secure enough in yourself and trust yourself enough to be able to explore and try and fail and yeah, have all those different experiences. But yeah, it's for sure like it's just a journey, like there's no end point to
Yeah,
owning a business. Like I
no,
feel like I don't know, maybe when I started, I kind of thought like, oh, like this is what it's gonna be. And then like once it's that's that, like it's just gonna go. And then it's
yeah,
like, no, it's actually, like not only has my vision changed for what I want my business to be from compared to when I first started 4 years ago, but it's like it just is constantly growing and changing, because you are as a person, so it's only
yeah,
natural that your business and the way you want to approach all of it is going to change.
yeah. So let's go back in time a little bit when you were a child. Who were you back then? Who was Abby?
As a child, ooh, big people pleaser.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. No, so I have a twin sister and I have two older brothers. And my oldest brother is bipolar and also was very depressed and manic and had a lot going on. And it was back then, like he's 9 years older than me. So it was back when that sort of stuff really wasn't understood. He didn't get diagnosed until like,
mm,
9 or 10. Like it was a lot for my parents and it was a lot for us as children. It was very traumatic. He was like awful pretty much to all of us. And so my other brother, who's 4 years older than us, took the brunt of that from him, but my sister and I did as well. And like we fell into this place of feeling like we kind of had to take care of everybody. And like especially me, I felt like I had to take care of everyone and keep everyone happy. And so I very
yeah,
heavily fell into this people pleaser role. I never wanted to do anything wrong. I always, miss perfectionist. Like I wanted, like I was always controlling the things I could control in those sorts, because whenever
mm,
your life is chaotic and you're a child, there's only so much you can control. And so I could
yeah,
control what I did
absolutely.
and making sure that I never did anything wrong. I never upset my family, and I was always the peacemaker too
Mm,
in my family. So like my, sister and
yeah,
brother would get into a fight, or like my oldest brother would do something wrong and then I would try to like make it better. And so I felt like I was very much that kind of like anchor for my family, which didn't give
yeah,
me the freedom to pursue who I really was for a long time. And especially as a
mm,
twin, it's even harder. It's interesting. I actually just had my sister on my podcast. I'm really excited to share that episode because we actually talk about this sort of like development of identity that we felt we both like were stunted in almost, and not in like a, you know, my parents did anything wrong or anything like that sort of way, but just because we're just naturally as twins, you do things together. We're super close, you know, and we didn't, and because we stayed doing the same thing so much of our lives, we felt like we didn't truly get to explore our individual identities until we were in college. And even then we lived together. And it was once we, you know, finally like split apart after college, we haven't lived 10 years since then. And it's felt like that was really when we were both able to truly like figure out who we were. And that really felt true for me. So yeah, I felt like, you know, and, you know, my sister and I are super close, but when we were younger, she had really big feelings, and it was harder for her to handle what was going on than it was for me. So again, I felt like I was her rock and someone who like kind of helped normalize things and try to calm her down and make her happy. And so like, even then, you know, it was again, more of me feeling like I was always giving myself to everyone else rather than focusing on me. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping women focus on themselves and just be them. Because once I had that evolution as an adult, I was like, yeah, there's no way I could ever go back to anything else. Like, I just can't. It's just like, it's impossible for me. And, you know, I was glad to be there for my family, and I played the role I needed to. But it's also, like it made it, I think, a little harder for me to like, it took longer for me to like figure out who I really was as an adult.
Yeah. Did she dance as well as you?
She did, yeah.
When you
Yeah.
grew
And
up?
so that was, we danced. We didn't start dance until we were like 10. And then we really like, we were doing all, you know, all the different activities, and my parents are both musicians. So we did a lot of music and stuff like that. And then we both focused heavily on dance in high school. And she actually started as a dance major in college with me. And so I think that was part of it too, is we were on the same path. And we were at the same college, in the same program, and we had other classes, you know, separate from each other. But outside of that, we were kind of on the same path until halfway through. So after 2 years, she switched majors. And that was really the start of us feeling like, okay, we get to like be our own people and do our own things. And it was very freeing for me. Even like in the dance studio and like in life, and for her as well. It felt, very like we were like, okay, now we get to do our own thing.
Wow. Yeah, I get it. Because so because we talked about the dance, how many years did you dance?
I stopped in 2020 because of COVID. I got my degree in dance, and then I danced professionally for 5 years after college. So I don't know. What would that equal? I don't know. Maybe I probably danced 20 years, close to 20. Well, not 20, but yeah, I'd say almost 20 years probably of dance. Yeah.
Do you miss
Love
it? I mean, do you miss it today? Yeah.
I do, like, yes and no. It felt like I missed it obviously like right away, because it just kind of like all of a sudden it was like the rug getting pulled out from under me in COVID, you know, like with everything else. Like I, you know, went from dancing every day, and we had performed right whenever the whole country was shutting down here in March. Like that weekend we had our performances. And so it was kind of like it had wrapped up, but then it was like, we are not sure what's going to happen. So it was like, all of a sudden dance was gone, but we didn't know what was going to happen after that. So it was very like, it was hard to kind of navigate that like nebulous sort of space. And I do feel like I miss it in ways, but I use it a lot myself. Like I dance at home. Like I, you know, create dance resources and improv type things for my clients because embodiment is so important to me. And so I do still use it. I miss like the community aspect of it. And I miss like taking class where it's literally, you're just getting to have fun and trial and error. Like that's really who I am as a person. And so I do miss those aspects of things. But when I moved to Colorado almost 3 years ago, I really like because in North Carolina, where I was last dancing, like I still had the dance community. I still could take class. Like I still was doing that sort of thing, even after COVID.
Yeah.
And when we moved here 3 years ago, I was really like, okay, like obviously I still love dance, but I was like, that's not where I'm going to focus my time and energy. I just felt like I really needed to build that business community and focus, kind of go all in on my business. Cause I had started it while I was in North Carolina, but and it was, good there, but it didn't feel like I had that sort of support system that I felt like I needed for business. And so when I moved here, that was really where I focused my time. And the thing with dance is, as a professional, you don't really get paid much. So you're basically giving up your time and energy for free. And so that's why when I started my business, I was also like, I can't give all of my time and energy to two different things. It was either my business or dance. Like I didn't feel like I had enough to give both, especially as you're growing a business. Like it requires so much from you. And so I use it as a tool, and I do miss, aspects of it. But, I miss performing for sure. There's really nothing like that. But other than that, like, I felt like it was just like a natural kind of, we're going to move on from this. And so, it just kind of like happened. And I felt like,
I love watch dancers. I absolutely love watch dancer. I think it's that flow with the body and the music. And I mean, I danced when I grew up, but everyone was like, okay, here we go again. They were not so supportive.
Yeah.
So I stopped.
I understand that.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I felt lucky. My parents were very supportive of us dancing because they're artists. So I got that from my grandparents a lot of like, this isn't a real job. What are you going to do? But no, for my parents, they were very much like,
Abby, do you believe that, I mean, I'm sure you have it in you, but do you believe that people actually also can learn to be, I mean, a good dancer, or maybe not there,
absolutely. No, for sure. I think it's really just, how much you apply yourself. Like that was what I saw, even in like growing up and in college. Like it's, yes, there are some people who are just totally naturally gifted, and the thing about them though is often they don't have to try as hard, so their work ethic isn't quite as good. So that honestly, and a lot of times that means that like their attitude's not as good. So often, like especially in the professional world, like people aren't going to want to work with somebody who doesn't work hard and have a good attitude, no matter how talented you are. So honestly, like the more you apply yourself, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, And if you're open to receiving feedback, that's the biggest thing too, is like you have to be open to hearing and understanding and applying criticism. And it's not always nice criticism, especially in the ballet world. Luckily, I was in the modern world, and the modern world is way more nice. Like it's a way chiller group of people. And that's why I love it. And it's way more, free-flowing type of movement too, which is why I love about modern. But ballet has its role, it's a really good like technique to learn. It keeps you in shape, and it really like gives you that discipline. And modern is much more of like the free-flowing, do whatever.
But I think it's so beautiful that you also create that service for your clients as well. Because, like you said, moving your body and body, like
it's so important. It's beautiful. So many people don't, and like, and if you, regardless of if you grew up doing it or not, like it's so important to move your body and feel your energy and like, and allow also the emotions and energy stored in your body to release and come out. Because if you don't, like they're going to stay, they're going to come out in other ways, and sickness or anxiety and panic attacks. Like there's so much that can happen if you are not releasing the energy and the emotions that are stored in your body, especially if they're trauma-based. Those are the biggest, that obviously they're going to catch up with you at some point when you least expect it. And also it's just like a good way of like making sure that like you feel good in your body, because we spend so much time in our heads, and especially as like, people who used to be perfectionists and people pleasers, and as business owners in general, like you spend so much time by yourself, so much time in your own head, that is just an opportunity to get out of it. And so the resources I create are very like, I have lots of different types of embodiment resources, but the ones that are more dance-based, I call guided improvs, because that's what I'm doing, is guiding people through an improv that it's literally like, you don't have to be a dancer at all in order to do them. You can, like, one of them that I always recommend the most to people, especially if you're trying to release stored emotion, is shaking your body, because it's so, so good for you to just release, and if you look at dogs or animals, like if they have some sort of stressful thing happen, they shake their body and then they move on with their day. And that's them genuinely shaking it out, shaking it off, releasing whatever just happened and moving on.
All animals.
They do that. And we as humans, it's like, we are just like, oh no, that super stressful thing just happened. I'm just going to store it and keep moving on with my day. And it's like, no, it's going to come back and get you, like, it's wild. Like, we're animals too. And so if you don't get it out, like, it is going to come back. And so that's why that, even if you just shake your body for like 15 seconds, it can have such a great impact on allowing you to reset, basically, and then there's other improv, free flowing, and being silly and having fun and things that are important that we don't make time for as adults.
I love that. I loved this one with the I've never thought about it, but I'm going to start with the shaking more.
It's so great. And it doesn't have to look like anything. And like, sure, maybe you're going to feel silly or whatever, but like, it's also so good for your body to just be like, I'm just going to shake it really fast and like, and get whatever just happened out of your body. Like, I love to use it as a tool. I recommend it a lot to people because it is very helpful in resetting. And it's so simple. Anybody can do it.
It is. I have to do it with my children. They will think I'm silly, but when they were like younger, every Thursday when they came to me, because I'm divorced back then, they had they wanted to perform. So it was like my son with kind of a what do you call it in English?
Ribbon.
This. Yeah, like something. Yeah, exactly. And I have to fight him and stuff like that. And then my daughter, that was a dance. Like, so it was always that. And then we had in the kitchen, and it was not big. We were standing in a kind of in a circle, and we had dance. Like, everyone had the chance to dance in the middle. And it was so much fun. I wonder why we don't do it now. They're a teenager now, but I want to.
Still would be good for them. They're going to hate it probably, but still would be good.
Because they think I'm so silly sometimes because I'm so goofy. But on the other hand, at home, why not?
Yeah, why not? My sister actually does something similar with her. Yeah, you should try the shaking for sure. Because that's even shorter. Like, you can just do it for 30 seconds and be good with your day. But yeah, my sister does something similar. She has a 2.5-year-old, and every evening they have like a little dance party to like get the wiggles out, and she started incorporating more shaking and stuff because we've been talking about it recently, and I'm like, it would help, like, it's a easy thing for toddlers to do, and that helps them regulate also, and really but we don't spend enough time thinking about our bodies, being in our bodies, and that's why that sort of stuff is so, I find it so essential for my health and happiness. And I also I think it's important for everybody, especially as you're going through any sort of, transformation or leveling up or working on your mindset, like, you also have to bring it into your body and embody it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. This, I will take this with me, and I hope the listeners will also take both of these with them. But I have one more kind of work-related question for you. If someone is listening and they feel stuck with their content, that like creating content, and maybe they're starting to want to like and unfold to a new identity somehow, or like feel a little bit insecure, do you have any like, tip for them?
Yeah. I always like to start with whatever feels easiest to you, like the lowest level of
Yeah.
entry. And so for a lot of people, often that does like start with stories is a really great opportunity to start feeling like you can express yourself more. Less people see them.
Mm.
You feel like maybe you're going to get less judgment. They only last 24 hours. Like it's kind of like you can just kind of throw something up there and see what happens, and see also that like it's not going to hurt you to start expressing yourself more. Often you'll create more connections, and you'll get a DM from somebody that maybe you haven't before because of the way you're expressing yourself. And so like whatever that is for you in terms of like the lowest, like easiest thing that you can do, then start there. But like I said, often that is stories, because it is such like a, people don't take it as seriously. You don't have to try to pretend to be a business on your stories. Like often they are more personal, they're more like authentic and real. And so that's an opportunity to just kind of try something and see what happens. But same with, your content. Like if you really like creating reels, then, create a reel and just, you could do a trial reel instead of it showing to your regular followers. It could go to other followers, and you can just get into the habit of doing the thing, because that's really where the confidence is going to come from, and the feeling more comfortable with it is by just doing it. So finding those easier ways to actually kind of like start doing that, and just sharing, like just not worrying about it being perfect. I always like to also encourage people, like if you get stuck in this like over editing, over reading it, like over like waiting and waiting to post it, like set a timer, for something a little shorter than what it would normally take you to create a piece of content. Set a timer. When the timer is off, just share it, like imperfect and all. It doesn't matter, like, the truth is, the matter is like, not everybody's going to see your content. and also, even if they do, they're not necessarily going to judge you or say something mean. I've never gotten a mean comment on anything I've shared, and I'm really real online. And like I said, like it's a process. It took me quite a while to get there. And that's why like the mindset and embodiment stuff comes into it for me, like 100%. It's such a big piece to creating content that like feels like you. But yeah, if you can just like find the lower level of entry, usually that is like at least a place to get started and just start doing it, because that's where the confidence comes from.
Yeah. I love that. And I totally agree with doing it and doing it. When I created a lot of videos before, I remember that for me, I put kind of my own rule or whatever. I don't like rules, but my own, I don't know, structure of I could only make it 3 times. So the third time, that's the one, or the first, if the third time didn't feel good, okay, the second and the first, I had to pick one of them and out with it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because
Yeah,
and I
because
talked to
if
a
you,
friend, she did 20 times. I was like, oh my God, okay. Then I understand.
Or like
Yeah.
people will like stop and restart a bunch of times, and it's like, no, like I always write, like if you're going to do a talking reel, for sure, just record it. Like, and even if you mess up in the middle of it, you can cut it out, like you can edit it out. But like the more you stop and restart, the more you get out of a flow, and the less like good it's going to feel, the more like clunky and like, yeah, just weird that it's going to feel, and it's probably not going to turn out great. But if you can just turn the camera on and just record, and even if you mess up and you just pause and restart like yourself, not the video, then you can just like, get more and more used to it. I made myself, because I also like, was kind of trying to figure out, okay, how can I feel like I'm more myself online? And so I started doing Instagram lives, and that is like, that's a big leap for people, unless like that feels like something you want to do. Like, don't start there unless that is something like, for me, it was just like, I was like, I got to push myself out of my comfort zone. And I would do it with other people. Like I would just have like interviews basically. And that was how I felt like like once I started my podcast, I was like, well, I can do this. That's easy. I've been doing this for months. You know, I was doing like 2 a month for several months with Instagram lives. And that's almost like higher stakes because it's live, you know, whereas with like a podcast, I can edit something if I need to. But
exactly.
Yeah, I felt like that was a really good practice for me in terms of like speaking and feeling like I could show up in that way, because until that point I hadn't really done too much of like the speaking online, and it opened up a different door of me being able to express myself once I was able to do that.
Yeah, I love that. It's really good. I mean, because like you say, you are live, so you have to go with whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. And then, so that's why, doing the podcast was so easy after that. Cause I was like, well, I can do this. I can talk. I know that much.
Yeah, but I think as well, the podcasting for me, and I had fear of going live a lot. I'm not doing it that often, but and that was because I was then starting to speak from my mind, and then it became very, not me. But the podcast, I'm me. So like you said, this is really good. I love it. So is there anything else you want to, share or bring out there?
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, this has been so good. We've talked about so many things I love. Definitely. I'm glad you brought up the dance stuff, because that is, something I feel like I don't talk too much about, even though obviously I incorporate dance into everything. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's really just about like giving yourself the permission to be who you are and know that who you are is enough.
Yeah.
That is one of the hardest things to do, especially as women, is to just be like, who I am right now is enough. That was an affirmation I used to tell myself all the time, because we so often struggle with that feeling of not feeling good enough. And then it seeps into everything in your business and the way you show up and the way you feel like you can even have the confidence to try new things. And so giving yourself that permission to be like, you know what? No, I am really cool. And like what I have to say matters, and just like owning your power more, and it's difficult, and it's a journey for sure. Like we're all still on it all the time. And it's just starting with that like decision to do it is like, I don't know. I feel like in the last year, I've really, I've always known, obviously I'm the business owner and I'm the one making decisions, but it's like, I don't know, there's like this thing about like the power of making decisions that I've really like stepped into in the last year, where I'm just like, no, I really do get to just decide. And like, and that goes through for so many things in my business and my life, where I'm just like, no, I do just get to make that choice. And like, I don't have to have a good, quote, good reason for it, because like you can just make a choice because it feels good to you, and you don't have to over explain yourself. You don't have to apologize. You can just simply make that choice. And there's so much power in that. And the more I've leaned into that, the more I've like really seen the results I feel like from those choices, not just like in my business or my online presence, but like in my life, of being just like, no, I'm just going to like chill more. I'm just going to like enjoy my life more, and just make those decisions to be more present, or, to put my phone away, or like things like that, where it's just, it often is just a choice. And the more consciously and intentionally you can make those choices, the better things feel.
Yeah. I love that. So how can people, if they want to work with you and talk both their content and website and dancing and everything, what's the I have to bring it in because I love it. Where is the best way? Is it Instagram or your website? Or?
I spend most of my time on Instagram. If you want like real connection, real vibes, all that stuff, that's where I spend my time, at Abby Bradetich. And then, but my website also has like all the things on there for how I can help people with design, for brand copy and website. And then obviously the content coaching is my program called Magnetic by Nature. And that has 3 different tiers of support to help people where they're at right now, so that you can get the investment level that feels good and the level of like personalized support that you need for your content as well. And that's all on my website. But yeah, Instagram is where I hang out. So let's be friends.
Yeah. And your podcast.
Yes, and my
have to
podcast
also
too.
listen to it.
Yes, the Unfiltered CEO.
Yeah.
That's also on Instagram and
Yeah.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So all that good stuff.
Thank you so much for bringing all
Yeah,
of
for
you
having me.
and all of you. Yeah, it's really been. I love it. Love the conversation.
Same.
And for everyone's listening, if you have any questions to Abby or feel like, okay, whatever, just send us a message or on Spotify, and then I will get back to you and we can like, you can answer and so on. We go back and forth.
I would love that.
But I would love for you to subscribe. And Abby, thank you so much for everything you are and do in this world.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I loved this.
Yes.